I try and pick up little words of Spanish, but I can't speak really very well at all. So I nod, smile, and then hopefully it goes somewhere. I think picking up a language this year is something that's on my to-do list.
Hello Tom, how are you today?
Hello Christina, yes, really good. Happy to be here in Valencia.
Is this your first time in Valencia?
Yeah, my first time. So I came over on Saturday, a bit of travel with my girlfriend, had a look around, went to the Science Museum and the aquarium and some of the other cool places here in town. And now obviously with all of you this week, it's really fun and I can't wait to come back next time.
What is the first impression that you got when you went down in the plane, or the first morning that you were walking around the office? What has made your spirit change? I
think people here are so happy, and I can understand why. The weather, the busy feeling of Valencia, it's really contagious. And the moment I stepped off the plane and I noticed it was hot. The UK at the moment is really cold. We're having snow every few weeks at the moment, so it's nice to have a bit of difference. It's nice to meet all the team that I've not been able to.
So, Tom,
yes.
This week, which is the objective of your team?
The objective of my team is to understand the customer story, to understand perhaps where the workflows don't work correctly, and maybe how we can make that customer journey and experience a little bit more easy and a bit more valuable as a result. I think we've got so many amazing things in the platform, but perhaps sometimes they don't always bridge together, or for someone like the client that doesn't spend much time on the platform, it becomes a bit confusing. So working with some very talented and very smart people in the team and trying to figure out how to make that easier. Obviously the tech team work behind the scenes and make it possible for the sales team and the customer success team to actually operate, to give us something to go to clients with. But when you do start speaking with clients, the key thing is obviously uncovering their pain points, uncovering the things that are important to them, and in order to tell them what part of the platform makes most sense. And I think what we were trying to show with the big list of objectives and goals for these people is that there is so many different things people need. And you could say Datamaran is brilliant for all of them, but unless you really guide them and coach them through how to do it, it's very difficult for them to understand. So we're trying to focus maybe on the more common use cases, and then if there's other things that are interesting to the clients after they achieve their first or second objective, then brilliant. It's great to have these insights. Where we get the insights is through the onboarding calls. So the customer success team, when a new client comes on board, will host a 90-minute conversation to discuss what they want to achieve while subscribed to Datamaran. Whether that be materiality, whether that be informing their strategy, or many other different things. So that's critical, and then also through the sales cycle. It's part of my job as an account manager to really understand what someone wants. Because if I sell them the product, Datamaran in total, and I don't listen to the fact that they want to focus specifically on the regulatory developments in their landscape, maybe they won't be interested in hearing more.
So in this, which is your favorite client? And have you ever felt like, oh, I really want to get this for my client?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a growing list of clients happening, which is good. But one that I think stands out to me when you talk about wanting to fight for them and make things work for them is a company in South Korea that is now with us for 3 years, called SK Hynix. They work as a semiconductor business, so they the hardware for machines and technology. And Fabian and I have been working with them for over a year now. And at the start of the conversation, they really wanted to get more insight into the data going into their assessment. And because they weren't, subscribed to the wider platform, they weren't able to do that. And they stressed this was quite a concern. They just signed on for 3 years, and working with them and understanding this frustration and speaking to the amazing tech people that we have at Datamaran, we were able to come to a solution. And now we see within the platform, within the analysis module, parts of their requests really being put in. And when we went back to them about 3 months ago and said, look, we've finally done it, this is happening, they had amazing feedback. They said, thank you, this is exactly what we need to inform the higher leadership and really, give evidence to what we want to be discussing. And I think having that open relationship is really important for me. I enjoy doing that with SK Hynix, and the other thing that I find fascinating about them is they're one of the first clients I've come across that are now trying to not only disclose every year on their key issues, but they're developing something on their website to enable live updating of their matrix and their issues, so that their stakeholders don't have to wait until the next year. It's always ready to go, and that's so valuable for not only external communication but for their internal strategy.
It's a nice story to hear that you learn from both sides, company and then client.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it's important. We always say that the platform develops because of what the client wants, and it's nice to be able to then tell future prospects, the reason why it develops this way is because of you. It's nice to hear that we're not just creating things for the sake of it. We're actually listening to what is needed.
So how do you manage to take the conversation into a positive way when things are
going sour?
Which tricks do you keep to keep the conversation positive?
Well, it's difficult. There's been times over the last 2 years when I was a business development rep and now as an account manager where sometimes you don't see eye to eye with people, or over the phone they don't like you to start with. And the important thing is to remember that I'm not just trying to sell them the product because it's my bonus. What I'm really trying to do is solve a problem for them. And when you put it in those terms, people become more understanding. I think one of the things that I used to worry about picking up the phone was, they could tell me to go away, tell me to never call them again. But ultimately, does that matter in the grand scheme of things? No. To get people engaged, I think it's important we note where we are as a company at the moment and the role that we're supposed to be playing. It's nice to provide them with the technology, but our expertise lie in understanding how best practice works in this area. So rather than us suggesting maybe use us, I think it's really time that we start to ask, why don't you do it in this way? Start to challenge a little bit more. And I've started to notice a couple of our most recent clients have happened because of that, because we take on more of an expert role, a bit more of an advisory role, and we become trusted partners. If you don't really have an understanding of what they do and what's important to them, it makes it much more difficult to sell, but also to even speak to someone. So I think that's the important thing, is make sure you do your homework, make sure you know what's important to them.
Yes, this is the old university.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I think we are now shifting, and I'm starting to see with our sales approach, with our customer success approach, but also with the technology we're developing, we are providing insights that I'm not sure other people out there are doing, and we're starting to challenge what many people do, and I think it's the role that we should be playing. The advisor, we speak to hundreds of companies, and whether we work with them or not, we know what their processes look like. We know what excellence looks like. We know what best practice looks like. So I think we are in a really good position to be able to suggest and advise these companies on other ways of doing things, challenge them on why they currently do them. I mean, I know that from the last couple of months we've had new clients because of this, being a bit more bold and really asking them, have you thought about this properly? Some people get a bit nervous about doing it because it can come across as maybe arrogant or rude. But no, the intention is to help them improve their process. So yeah, I think us as advisors is a exciting new stage for Datamaran.
How would you explain your grandmother? What do you do in Datamaran?
Very difficultly. I actually had this conversation with my girlfriend's parents over dinner a couple of weeks back, and it was tough. It probably shouldn't be tough, me being a salesperson, but I think for many people not in the ESG or sustainability space, it can be a little bit difficult to understand how many components there are. You know, many people think climate change or GHG emissions is really all there is, but I think the best way of explaining it to someone is that we're trying to help companies objectively understand what else they're not focusing on that they should be, because many people that do think of, you know, climate change, GHG emissions, maybe biodiversity is a bit of a newer one, but many that get stuck in the old sense of sustainability kind of, you know, get left behind and they're not focusing in the right areas. So having someone externally to tell them, hold on, you're not looking in the right place is really important. And I think in a nutshell, that's what we do. We ask the questions of, are you looking in the right place? And then provide evidence to them to say, you are, you're not, is there more to be done?